So here today with Kevin Oak with Barbell Commission, and he just competed in the USPA Pioneer Tribute Meet yesterday. So went really well for you, right?
Yeah.
Took second overall.
Yeah, I took second overall among all weight classes. So I was in the 242-pound weight class, which is 110 kilograms. I ended up breaking a squat world record, which I already had, but I rebroke it. And I finally broke the total world record, which I had been chasing for almost 3 years. So it was a success, for sure.
And you were pretty close on the, was it the bench record as well? You were only a couple of pounds off on that one?
Nah, I was nowhere near the bench. I wish.
What was the other one?
No, I was only going for the squat and the total. That was it. I got the total on my second deadlift, so I threw like another 10 pounds on for the third, but I missed. But it would have just been like another 10 on the total.
All right, how long did you dedicate specifically to training for this competition?
I forget, but probably around like 12 weeks. The last time I actually competed was at the same meet last year. And since then I had a bunch of bicep tendon issues, like right where the bicep tendon meets like your shoulder. Mm-hmm. So there was a bunch of meets I had planned on doing, but shoulder kept like flaring up. I kept having issues. I kept having to pull out. So it took a while to actually like get back on the platform. And I was chasing the same records last year as well. So it's been a long road.
Right, and that's the same shoulder that you saw on your bench lagged behind a little bit yesterday, or is that a different issue?
Although I don't even know if that was I really don't remember what happened on bench. I do remember my calf cramps. I have like a posterior tilt, so my back is kind of like curved this way slightly. So getting into a bench press position, my body just doesn't want to
force it back the other way.
Yeah. So anytime I'm going for like a max bench, like either my back cramps or my calf, like something always cramps, and then like I twist, and it's never like clean. My squat's usually smooth. My bench is always like just looks weird.
And so you've been competitively powerlifting for how long now?
About 6 years. I think my first meet was July 2013.
Okay.
So a little over 6 years.
And do you remember what meet that was?
Yeah, it was the RPS Heat Wave. So I'm from New York. I actually grew up in Long Island. The RPS Heat Wave, they do it every July. The first couple of years it was in Merrick, which is in Nassau County. If you're familiar with Long Island, like you'll know it. If not, just know it's in Long Island. I think they switched it to Hofstra though the last like 2 years, but I actually did that meet every year the first 3 years I was competing. So the first time I'd hit 1,600. Second year I hit 2,000, which was a big milestone. Yeah. And the third year I hit 2,100, which was a big milestone.
That's awesome. So you're 34?
33.
33. So what were you doing prior to powerlifting? You were still strength training, I take it.
Yeah, so I was a runner like through high school and college. I even literally had my last meet the day before I graduated college, but then I was just done. So I was working in finance. I was a stockbroker for a couple of years. Then I was a day trader for a couple of years. But when you work in Manhattan, like it's kind of hard to be active. So most people just go to a gym. So that's what I was doing, either on lunch breaks or after work. I would just go hit the weights. So I was used to more kind of like hypertrophy, because when you run, like you don't do 1 rep maxes, like you're doing like 6, 8, 10 reps. But once I had graduated and like I can kind of just do what I wanted, I slowly started like throwing more and more weight on and actually seeing how strong I was. And over time, I just like kept getting stronger and stronger, and got to a point where I was squatting like close to 700. I was benching like close to 5. I think I was deadlifting like 600-ish. My deadlift was kind of behind because I didn't start deadlifting until I was like 25, but it got to a point where it was like people just kind of always ask me like do you compete? Like, what are you doing? And I was just like, it's like lifting, I don't know. But eventually, like I started seeing videos on YouTube. I think, you know what actually happened? I was pulling conventional. I didn't know a lot about deadlifting, and I kept kind of straining my back. So I started going on YouTube trying to figure out like better technique, that sort of thing. And then I started seeing like a lot of sumo videos, and I was like, what the hell is sumo? So I started pulling sumo, which was a lot easier on my back. It's just a lot easier to keep your spine neutral in a sumo position. So but then that kind of led into, powerlifting, because the only time you really see people pull sumo is in powerlifting. So I was like, oh, what's powerlifting? And like, you know, just kept kind of leading in, and I was like, oh, like I could do this sport. Like I saw the people who were around my weight. I was like, oh, I think I'd be competitive, you know, and eventually I just signed up for a meet.
Yeah, definitely competitive coming in with a 700-pound deadlift. But you said prior to what? Competing, you didn't know what a squat bar was for the most part, right? Like some of the specialty equipment used?
I probably didn't even know at my first meet. My first, RPS uses a 65-pound squat bar.
Okay.
And I don't think I even knew that at my first meet, to be honest. They had a monolift. I had no clue what that was. Like I didn't know what deadlift bars were and all that. I didn't have my own belt. I was just like borrowing people's belt, and they were looking at me crazy. Like, like, you want to have your own belt? I'm like, I don't know. Like, can I use yours? Like, will it fit me? You know? But I don't know. It wasn't like all that stuff isn't really a big. People make a huge deal of all that stuff, but it's like just get strong.
Yeah.
You know, like eventually you have to worry about the other stuff, but just lift.
Yeah, and training without the belt, you feel like that helped you progress better, at least maybe safer?
Thing was, I didn't know how to use the belt properly, so a lot of times I would just like throw it on and wouldn't really, like I didn't know how to properly brace and all that stuff until like later on down the road, so a belt really didn't help me much at that point anyway. Now it definitely does.
Yeah.
I would blow my back if I tried to do 1 rep max deadlift with no belt, but yeah, back then it wasn't a big deal. Like when I first squat 700, it was with no belts. Back then, like I didn't know. Like I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to brace with it and all that stuff.
Yeah, and now you're still, I think, recently squatted 800 with no belt, no sleeves, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was like, my back kind of still hurts a little bit thinking about it, but yeah, I hit an 800, no belts. When was that? It must have been earlier this year or end of last year.
Okay.
Sometime.
So now I just saw, I don't know when it was.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty diverse history to go from, you know, collegiate sprinter to basically a desk job for 6 years. Competitive powerlifting and multiple victories, championships under your belt with that. And now with Barbell Commission, is that more of a lifestyle brand, or what made you, what drove you to want to take off with that?
No, I definitely wouldn't say it's a lifestyle brand. We're pretty, I don't know how I would describe it, but I mean, for me, I used to be sponsored by a lot of different companies, and it just got to a point where I like things a specific way, so it just made sense for me to just make exactly what I like and wear it. And it's like, if I like it, other people probably want the same thing. So it was that's just how I go about it. I'm like, what do I need to lift in and all that stuff, and just make it. So yeah, it's mostly for powerlifters, but obviously weightlifters, strongman too. But I try to keep it it's mostly stuff that you would wear like in the gym.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're training with a barbell, for the most part.
All right.
So
cool. And when did that start fully kick off?
Almost 2 years. We kicked it off 2017, like a week before Halloween. So end of October in 2017.
All right, cool. And it's gone pretty well. I know I've seen more and more of the brand and the shirts and stuff.
Yeah, we're lucky. It's been well received. So yeah, mostly the compression. Yeah. That was a big thing. The thing was, before us, because I used to be sponsored by Virus, but they're mostly like weightlifting, CrossFit. They don't really try to like sponsor powerlifters. So I'm really kind of like the only person who like makes compression shorts specifically for powerlifters. Whereas, you know, like most people's compression shorts would just be too long. So when you're deadlifting, they would catch. So I specifically made ours like a little bit shorter, so that you don't have that issue with it getting in the way and all that. So that's what's really taken off for us, to be honest. Yeah. Like t-shirts, like everyone makes t-shirts. Everyone will like buy one, you know what I mean? But like the shorts, like people think about us when they think about the compression shorts. Yeah,
that's cool. I didn't even realize that they were designed with that in mind. The compression shorts.
That used to be annoying. It's the barbell rubbing on them, and also then when you have knee sleeves on, if your shorts are too long, they're like banging into each other, and it's just easier. All right,
cool. And do you have another competition you've got planned coming up after this one? I know you want to take some time to recover, obviously.
I literally don't. You know, it's like a mental thing with me. I don't like to plan the next competition to like get through the comp, or else it's like, you almost start making an excuse for yourself, like, oh, if I don't get this time, like I got this one next. So like I like to like almost put that competition in my schedule as like it's like the last day, like like I make no plans for after competition.
Okay, so that's
literally
like the end all
like,
be all. Just get there, and you need to do your
like after I get through competitions, I'm just like I don't know what I'm doing this week at all.
is that a load off your mind, or you just not lose direction, but do you just literally take some time off before you start training again? Because
usually depends what's going on. Like next week, I kind of want to hit like a Steinborn PR.
Okay.
But other than that,
700, right?
Yeah, but other than that, like I'll usually take at least a week to like 10 days off just to like, it's good to like make like a mental like line, like a barrier, or otherwise it kind of like, if you just like keep training, usually like a week or 2 or 3 weeks later, you just like feel really worn out. So it's kind of better to have like that mental switch where it's like, all right, this was the meet prep, the meet, there's the line. It's like, all right, now this is the next thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier mentally. Otherwise, you always get like that burnout like 2-3 weeks later.
Because you think you're fine, but your CNS doesn't recover after a big competition.
You always have those people that like go and like, oh man, I'm so strong the week after comp, and like they're hitting a bunch of PRs, and 2 weeks later they're smoked.
Yeah, or injured, or both.
Basically.
So, I was gonna ask, so the Steinborn squat, do you have a current PR with that?
Yeah, I only did it once, but I hit 505, just messing around. I think Martins has hit like 570-ish or something like that. So I know he can do a lot higher, but he won't unless someone like challenges him. So
you're trying to
I want to at least make him like put effort in. So yeah, hopefully I can hit like 580 or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'll throw some plates on him. We'll see.
So is strongman anything you'd be interested in the future? Speaking of Martins,
you know, before I did powerlifting, I actually did a strongman competition, and I sucked. I was really bad at it. Just not for me. It plays to all my weaknesses. I have like a terrible core. I don't have a strong posterior chain. It's not good. Yeah,
and you can't pull sumo in strongman, so you got to go back.
Yeah, it was. If they had squat, I would have like a better chance, but they usually don't even squat.
Yeah, and
you can't throw a squat together for me, man.
And your height doesn't play to your advantage. You're taller than me. You're 5'11"?
5'11", yeah.
5'11", but
I guess I don't have short arms, but
yeah.
Like Jeff has like these long arms, so he's really good with the stones and everything. I don't know. It's entertaining though. I like watching strongman.
Yeah.
It's definitely better like
it's more of a spectator sport
than powerlifting. Sure.
I'm gonna try and bring my team out to Giants Live in Indiana next week, so hopefully it's more fun
in
to
Indiana?
watch. Yep. Martinsville, I think.
Damn, what should I know?
So August.
It's not the deadlift champs, right? They already did that.
I'm not sure which events they're doing, honestly. I just know it's local. It's an hour from where we're at, so we're gonna try and get out there something.
Yeah, you have to.
So trying to get some of the team into it, but
cool.
So you mentioned you did the 12-week lead up to this competition, but you're obviously training for strength, hypertrophy, something in your off season. What's your typical strength block or training day look like?
So for me, because I'm kind of like a little deeper in the career and have a lot of little nagging injuries, I tend to have to like do a lot of workarounds. So it's not like a lot of people are very like squat, bench, deadlift every single week. Me, I tend to squat more often because it doesn't beat me up as much, but I can't deadlift. I deadlift every like 10 days maybe. And then bench press, I like have to kind of keep away from deadlift because they both irritate my shoulders. So there's a lot of workarounds, but it all kind of, it works out in the end. But generally, I train 3 days a week. What's worked best for me is when I do kind of like a 4-day rotation, but only train 3 days. So it would go like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, and start again the next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Which gives you like that little bit of extra recovery, which can go a long way, especially when you're closer to a competition and like the weight's heavier and it's really beating you up, especially like a conventional deadlift session, which is very taxing your CNS. So that's what's worked best for me. But I know a lot of other people that like have to bench twice a week. Some people have to bench 3 times a week. For me, the 4-day rotation works.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people think they're tied to that 7-day, Monday through Friday, Sunday through Saturday, so they have to train these set days to expand it over and have it cycle on different days of the week.
For me, it's worked better having like a 9-10 day week and then starting over. But to each their own.
And you train conventional?
So I compete conventional, but I actually train mostly sumo.
Okay.
It's just a lot less taxing on me and I can recover quicker. When I do like a heavy conventional session, it takes like a minimum 10 days to recover for me. So, and I just don't, it's like a more natural movement for me, but it just beats me up more. It beats my lower back up a lot. Sumo, I can just do more often. And I still just maintain my conventional strength for whatever reason. So I only pull conventional in training leading up to a meet like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Like for this meet, I pulled 800 like 4 or 5 weeks out. And then like 10 days out or so, I pulled 770 for a single, which is like far off a PR.
And then you opened at what at the competition this week?
Opened at 770.
Okay.
Then I went 820 on the second.
All right.
So I keep that conventional. Like I can't, if I go too heavy on conventional, too close to comp, it'll smoke me.
Yeah.
It'll just ruin the prep for me.
So with all the experience you've accumulated over the time with your personal training and what you have to work around with your injuries, do you apply that and do programming as well, or?
Yeah, I do. I coach mostly powerlifting. I mean, there's a mix. There's a lot of powerlifting, but I also coach a lot of people that don't want to compete, but just do more of like a power building style. But yeah, I've been doing it for like 3-4 years now. It's like another one of those things that I didn't purposely start doing. It was more so I was good at it, and I could just, I've always just been good at like building strength and like seeing where people's strengths lie. So it's just easy for me to kind of like see like how their strength builds and just make a program around it. So over time, like I used to train at a gym called Coliseum in Queens, and there was a lot of powerlifters in there. So like as I was doing better, a lot of them just kind of came to me and wanted me to help them, and I just like started training them because it just made sense, and I was helping and they were doing better. So it was like a win-win thing. And then it was like, well, I guess I should make this like a real thing.
Yeah.
So,
if you're gonna do it, maybe do it and
yeah,
you know, get something out of it. So
it's worked out. I'm happy. I don't really like go crazy on the marketing for it, but usually when people like see my YouTube videos or something like that, they'll be like, oh, let me message him for it, and
yeah,
we'll go from there.
It makes sense. So with your training and with your programming for other people, do you typically do one primary lift a day, or do you do like a squat?
Yeah,
squat and a bench?
Typically it's like a power building style. So usually it'll be either squat, bench, deadlift, or overhead press, or like incline press on like a secondary upper body day. And usually it would be like a main lift followed by a lot of accessory work.
All right.
That's just what's worked for me. Like I don't like to do high volume on the main lifts themselves. Like I'm not really the type of person I'll do like a 5x10 on the squat. I'll usually do lower reps, but once we get into the accessory work with like quad extensions, leg press, like that type of stuff, like lat pull downs, I'll do more volume on that.
And with your power building type, do you have what, 8 to 12 auxiliary exercises, or do you have fewer or more than that?
I mean, there's a lot, but yeah, for the most part, it's gonna come down to the basics. Like with a lat pull down, obviously it could be like a wide grip or a close grip or like a one arm. So it's like the all lat pull down, but there's just multiple variations. But most people are gonna do like, pretty much everyone's gonna be doing lat pull downs, rows,
Yeah,
you know,
just a whole
quad
bunch
extensions, hamstring curls, cat, like it's the basics. They don't really change. You know?
Cool. It sounds similar to a lot of the basic programs I'll do with the squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, and then the power build or the old school American powerlifting programming I think is the same. Where you've got, you know, your primary lift and then a lot of bodybuilder type movements to stabilize it.
That's what's worked best for me. When I try to do like high volume on like a compound lift, I feel like it just beats up your joints. You know? Whereas if you're doing it where it's like, all right, you're just focusing on your bicep and doing a lot of volume, it's just a lot easier on your body. But you can still obviously build muscle, and if you're trying to bulk, like you'll still put on that weight and get that training stimulus.
All right. And do you have programming? Do you have is that available on your site or through Barbell Commission, or just they hit you up on your Instagram when they
just email me at growoakstrong@gmail.com. It's usually in my YouTube videos. Like you can find the email address out there.
All right. Any advice you would give to a new lifter coming into the sport, or just a new lifter in general?
Yeah, usually when usually what happens is a new lifter will see me do like a heavy lift or something, right? Like yesterday. Like, oh my God, you broke a world record. Like, how do I get that? And like, I almost hate that because I'm like, you can't just see that. You have to see like all the hard work.
Yeah.
You have to see the injuries. You have to see like the missed attempts. Like, so I kind of hate that. But usually, what I would tell someone new, it's like just focus on technique, focus on keeping your body healthy, stay on top of mobility. If you do those things, like the numbers will come.
Yeah.
The numbers are just, that's like easy. It's easy to gain strength, but you know, if you get hurt and you're out of the sport in 2 months, then you're not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
Like if you can make it 5 years with relatively low injuries, you're gonna be way stronger than you are right now, bottom line.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like good technique, stay relatively healthy. You're gonna get hurt, but you know, let's not break anything. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully let's not have to have any surgeries, and be as diligent as you can with mobility. Make it 5 years. If you make it 5 years without getting too beat up, you're gonna be a lot stronger than you are today. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna not get hurt and 5 years down the road, like, be at the same spot you are right now. You're gonna get bigger, you're gonna get stronger. So that's the thing people worry about the most, but that's actually like the easiest part of it. What you really have to worry about is like staying healthy, just always staying on top of your technique. Just trying, like, especially like deadlifts and squats, it's like you gotta just make sure like you're really trying to like be as clean as possible with your technique.
Yeah, and that's great because I know in the short time that I've spent with you over the last couple of days, you were in the gym every day since you got here, but doing mobility work, doing those little things that no one sees. They televise the world record squat, but no one sees you in the gym doing this mobility.
Someone will just see like a squat world record, and it's like that's the last thing you have to worry about. Like, you gotta see all the other stuff. Like when you do everything else right, like that's the conclusion down the road.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So great advice. Stay safe, stay strong, right? So
cool.
But yeah, that's all I've got. So really appreciate your time, and
no problem.
let's go get
Let's
some
eat some
food,
steak.
huh? Yeah.